game number 2 around the corner, and it is going to be... Ooh. Oh, I love this. Ooh. That is such a predictable pick from DeMu, and Kiljardi knows it, and he's going to send in the Mongols against the Byzantines here on Coastal Cliffs. Excellent read by Kiljardi, and that is not a matchup that DeMu really wants to take here up against the Mongols.
No, it's a tough one, right? Like, you know, the good news is at least the trade option wouldn't be good for the Mongols, but the pressure most definitely is going to be.
Kiljardi's not a trader.
No. They don't kill. You know, if it's a unit that doesn't have damage, he's not building it.
It's not worth it.
No. So we have a kind of tricky predicament here, right? Like, you know, this could very easily turn into the 2-0. And what do you think? Does that then begin to snowball? Does that unravel the draft?
It can kind of lead to it. Then again, DeMu, he does have that tournament practice, right? So he does have that tournament experience. He knows how to reset mentality-wise.
Yes.
And he's not going to be like, oh, okay, I'm down 2 games. It's all over. It's a best of 7. DeMu knows, okay, in longer drafts, he should be favored. Now, something to keep in mind here. Byzantines, they're insanely dependent on those early berries. You do need those mercenary units out. The question is going to be, where do those berries spawn? Are they in the front? Are they in the back? That can make an insane difference on how you're actually going to approach this game.
I think it's rough as well, because if the berries at the back, the wood is quite typically at the front, and that's another option Mongols can block out, right? No olive groves, no fun time.
And the action is going to start early as well.
And I think where I was going from, right, it's not the mental reset for DeMu, but when you look at the draft and you think about how this plays out now, like, the way this is edging, if Kiljardi makes it 2-0, is there something here that ruins the plan for DeMu until a reset? Or do you think he still has all the appropriate boxes ticked with the remaining 4 picks?
I'm looking at it, and I'd say for the most part, he can still compete. I don't dislike Japan versus Order of the Dragon. I don't dislike Malians versus Ottomans for the most part, I want to say. Jean could be a curveball, French could be a curveball, but I think those are just picks that he picked because he had to pick a Civ. Ooh, it's time. It is time. We can hear those in-game sounds booting up again, and that means we're getting ready for our game number 2 in our grand finals. And there we go, Coastal Cliffs, DeMu with the Byzantines, and there has to be a big sigh of relief with that spawn once you see those berries being all the way in the back.
Not just the berries, look at the tree lines. This is a beauty right now. Yes, you are blocked out from a fast castle build with that gold placement, but usually the worry here is when you get those berries on the back, maybe you get the gold there as well. Both the tree lines in the front, that's an outpost rush any day of the week. So might be a little bit harder for Kiljardi to find that injection point here, but we do have to be conscious the additional berries, they aren't safe. It's not like he got one in the northern corner behind the tree line. So it's going to be reliant on olive groves to try and get deeper into the mercs as this game goes on.
If you do have the ability to push your opponent back from that early aggression, you can then go for those berries. But that's likely not going to be happening anytime soon, knowing Kiljardi, how he will then just go all in on those archers.
I mean, this is the thing. Kiljardi's a tricky little devil, right? We talked to him about it yesterday when he had that Jean versus Byzantine game where he baited them, showing the knights, and then zerged the archers. We have to remember, Mongols are a civ that also do have feudal age cavalry. That are not as good as Royal Knights, but they're not too bad either.
Something happening right now, it's a little bit of a syndrome that I like to call Kiljardi scouting. It's either he finds all the sheep, or he barely finds any, and this one looks like he's not really going to find a lot of them.
Oh boy. Not the sheep whisperer today. And well, the good news is you can at least build in the pastures, but this does affect your early aggressive timing. I guess you could argue a Mongol player could consider going out on something like the deer to make up for that.
Something that's a little bit interesting here is Kiljardi did make a barracks. He did invest into spearmen. It's only 1, and he didn't even use the double production here. And it looks like it's just going to be like a fast feudal age now behind this, and trying to massively invest into those double produced archers from there on out.
It's kind of like he got in his own head, though, because DeMu, he wraps around, he sees no extra production coming out. He wasn't investing anyway. You can see it, right? This is a fast tech time from DeMu. It's almost like Kiljardi thought he'd convinced DeMu to drop the racks and do the Limitane.
He's going to delete the mining camp, though. Mining camp.
I mean, do you even? I don't think he does, right? Like, remember, his scout is coming behind this. He knows there's nothing else to follow.
That's true, yeah. That's actually quite clever here for DeMu. Like, he knows there's no additional spearmen coming in. And I guess that has to be the reaction from EC, that there is no second spearman accompanying the first one. So you know, okay, something's off here. There's no double production going on. I don't need to delete the mining camp.
Deerstone drop on the way. Kiljardi, I mean, he's an aggressive fellow. He just wants to send it. But DeMu, so far, definitely feels like he got the edge here, right? Like, I don't really know if you want to be building spearmen per se if you're the Mongols in this one. You know, usually you want to just go mass archers. That feels like the winning play if you're Kiljardi here, right?
It does, it does. You just try to overwhelm your opponent in that kind of moment when the mass archers are coming out. Could very well be the case. Could also see Kashix potentially, like it depends. Right now there isn't a barracks coming in, and we do actually get the confirmation of an archer range drop here now by DeMu.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, I've seen it, especially in Byzantines on this map, they've done it against Delhi, if you remember, in a tournament a few weeks ago. It was Archer Lombo Mass. That was it, right? In theory, it works, even decently against Kashix. Kashix are not as tanky as normal knights, right? And without the trade scaling behind, massing Kashix will be difficult for Kiljardi here.
Yeah, you do need to get all the way into melee range for the Kashix to start really trading well because of the healing that they do have going on there. Until they make their way to the melee range, they don't perform as well as knights when it comes to soaking up damage.
What if, ironically, DeMu goes for the Eastern contract?
That would be interesting. We're getting some Kashix on Kashix action, you mean?
It's so weird to say. I never like it. Like, I always say when you're up against the original Civ, it feels bad to have to do. Like if you know English Byzantines, I mean longbows kind of work defensively, but if you came out your base with longbows as Byzantines,
I want to say with longbows it's like a little bit of a different thing because you get just so many of them
and
at
so
the
much
same time.
extra eco on the sides, right? And usually an English player in that situation is like, I like 2TC.
Spirin has to not just run away from the archers, but the wolves as well. Kiljardi managed to make a second spearman. I'm wondering what exactly the plan is with that one.
Oh, here we go. Archery range and stables behind. Maybe he's just trying to bait, make it look like he's actually investing more spears here. Ben behind it has to make a choice. He has got the olive oil required, so we should be seeing an investment into the contract soon.
Yeah, and the mercenary house is now going to be on the way. Double Broadex coming in for Kiljardi on the other side in the meantime. And there we go, archers are now going to be in queue with a double production stable, also following, and still has enough stone to potentially go for a double produced batch of those Kashix as well.
Timing on this for DeMu though, like the Western contract, this should be just back-to-back longbow pump. It's intriguing as well, because Kiljardi has to be thinking, he's not just going to mass more range units, right? Like he's already shown archers. In some ways it is effective by being somewhat illogical, but I love this follow-up. Horseman now on the way.
There we go. We're getting some longbowmen out from DeMu here.
Remember, this is the Lombo Horseman build. This is a very powerful build for pushing your opponent in Age 2.
It is, it is. Has a lot of instant pressure behind it, but also you're investing into Horsemen, which do cost a lot of food, so you also somewhat, like, behind that, have a natural transition into a Castle Age. And we do see a lot of villagers on gold for DeMu.
I wonder if this is just all the eco techs and the blacksmith techs, right? Because I think, you know, now you're seeing mass archers, you want to get coming in quickly.
Yeah, but after that,
it might just be because we have to remember it is a 4 gold, so there is a concern that like if you don't get your gold now,
you're not going to get it
exactly.
Soon, yeah. We're already up to 8 archers, and the funny thing behind that is that once those first couple longbows come out, DeMu suddenly has the lead archer-wise.
Oh, this is cool as well. DeMu's going border settlements, so just in case there is some Kashix raids potentially, he should have the early warning, and instead of building an outpost on the fort to see it coming, it's just going to have a very cheap and efficient house.
Exactly. DeMu now pulling back a little bit with those longbows and archers, because he does now have the vision forward. Where he doesn't have the vision at the moment is at the back of his base, so now that's where he's going to focus his military awareness for the time being. Kiljardi, for the time being, just going to be massing up his units. And then waiting for the time to strike.
Feels like you have to go sooner rather than later, right? The longer you go, the more the eco scales, although it seems even on both sides. I think it's one that favors Byzantines, right? Because
I'm not too sure about that. The issue is that you want to somehow deny the Castle Age, right? The Castle Age is going to be very tough for you to deal with. What you don't mind so much is playing it in a longer feudal age game, because eventually DeMu is going to have to transition to olive groves in order to continue getting olive oil in. If he pushes out onto like the different berries, then his villagers will very likely be exposed there.
But I think my thought there is in olive groves, yes, it is an expense, but very efficient expense, right?
It is. But for example, right now, DeMu doesn't have any more access to berries, so now it's going to have to be sheep, so he won't be able to make any more longbows after those first 2 batches.
Now that's interesting. He's actually getting crafty about this. He's going to make the maneuver out to the western flank here, not feeling like Kiljardi has the vision or the mobility to come and punish it.
Maybe. That's a long wall coming out now from DeMu. But something that Kiljardi does see is that the berries expired on the minimap. You can see that berry symbol disappearing. So now he automatically knows, okay, my opponent is no longer on berries. That could be a sign for him to check the other berries.
Horsemen are starting to move forward. It's awkward with Horsemen in this matchup, I think, because the Deerstone, like, usually you'd want to try to poke at the economy. It kind of feels redundant when Mongols have that.
He might catch him here.
Yeah,
That's a lot of Horsemen, though. I mean, 4 Horsemen isn't that much, but compared
to... the Lombos, though. The Lombos are out of position here. He's going to be dived towards them.
Movement speed arrow.
DeMu. I mean, it's too much front line with the Lombos in the retreat. There's not much behind this. Only one Keshik. Horseman can now return fire, so he should be able to get out of range, but serious damage done here, right? Archers are replaceable. Lombos, not so much right now.
Yeah, definitely not. The Horsemen are doing a great job of repelling the units for the time being, but DeMu down from 10 Longbos to just 3 remaining.
Yeah, and
might lose more.
Well, the health bar as well. Like, your scout's almost gone. If that goes down, you're right in blind this area. You haven't got many horsemen in front line either. One Keshik is just enough to keep you running all the way home with your tail between your legs. And Kiljardi already now building a notable military lead.
Yeah, 24 archers compared to just the 7 from DeMu at this point in time. Horseman number also not looking too hot on 5 at the moment. This is going to be really rough, and yeah, Kiljardi, he's just going to try and further push it in, try and get more villager kills behind all of this now. And he's just taking the map.
Yeah, very smartly well played. I think this is the thing, when you want to play Mongols, we talked about how effective they can still be actually aggressively, but it does require to utilize the map to do so. It's something discovered a very long time ago. I think by Mr. was the first one to really start clocking it, right? With moves out onto Deer at minute 2 or 3.
Exactly. Sister now going up on those berries. It's going to be at least a 10% buff there for those villagers.
Siege engineering coming up. Kiljardi wants a fast win here.
He sees all the production buildings. He could take those down with the rams.
Now, this is the negative of the Ford house for Vision, is obviously it's not as sturdy as an outpost, so much easier to get paid burning it down.
First bounty is going to be coming in, and immediately ram is getting dropped. DeMu sees that this is going to be coming. Can he mass enough units? Another bunch of Lombos is going to be in queue. They do have that bonus range. Could potentially try and just kiting back and forward.
The wild part about this is he's seen Horsemen, but Kiljardi doesn't feel like he needs spears whatsoever, right? Just 3 Keshiks to try and protect him in this area. Mesh now on the way, so Kiljardi, if he needs to dive, he'll be ready to go. Ram starts knocking on the door. Remember, he just needs to burn 4 buildings to basically pay for this ram. Only 1 going down. DeMu throwing a lot of gold now. You can see what his real intent was, but Kiljardi read right through it.
Yeah, DeMu just cannot afford to go up to the next age now. Military gets deposited inside the TC for the bonus arrow fire without idling any of his villagers. But the ram, slowly but surely, is going to start taking some of these buildings down.
No reaction yet out of DeMu. He's only got 5 Lombos, right? It's not the type of thing you trade fairly.
He's going to try the ram.
Nice garrison maneuver there to get the horseman on top of it. Ram is going to go down, and it will be a trade. 1 horseman for a ram. Not the worst for Kiljardi there.
The next time it's going to be 2 rams.
And then maybe 3.
Maybe more.
And spears now being added in finally by Kiljardi. So I guess just trying to rely on Keshiks here. It's too expensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could, in theory, just go for mass Keshiks. I actually don't dislike that. Mainly for the reason that you have an easier time pushing into the base as well with the tankier unit.
We'll start the probe. 3 Keshiks in these choke points is enough to hold it back.
Getting picked off there.
Bit of a flood over.
And Kiljardi only losing a single Keshik. Maybe like 1, 2, 3 archers. But he takes 3 villager kills with it. And now a trade-off happening.
The Keshiks are down here. DeMu should be able to push this away.
It's not enough horsemen.
Oh boy. Gets rid of the ram. Stables is on fire though. Will be going down.
And this was still a positive trade in the end for Kiljardi. A lot of the horsemen did go down.
I have to keep in mind, DeMu can't keep that up, right? The berries are running out quickly. He can't access the deer. You mentioned the farms are going to be a big problem to transition into. Kiljardi, on the other hand, he doesn't have to really think about pastures here. He has so much food on the map to work with.
Exactly, and now also shifted a lot of his villagers onto gold, so it feels like the Keshik production is going to be in now. Another stable gets added halfway across the map.
That's a typical Kiljardi move. I mean, you could just take the stables you got already and move them up, but got to keep it pumping, got to keep those numbers rocking. DeMu can't help but feel if this keeps going, if this keeps trending on an equal trade, he's going to be the one who ends up on the negative end of this. Houses now being targeted, a much easier thing to burn. Baits him out of range. A lot of horsemen are going to go down here. Keshik's held in reserve to follow through. DeMu only 10 lombos, so these trades are still not favoring.
Yeah, now down to just 4 horsemen. He does have a considerable amount of archers, 30 archers, so a combined total of 40 ranged units. Which isn't bad, but it still doesn't quite feel like it is enough at this point in time now. Kiljardi, he just keeps eking out the smallest of advantages here by taking down these buildings time and time again. And the pressure's all on DeMu. He knows that he cannot go up to Castle Age behind this.
Knock, knock. He keeps on coming. The other problem is obviously when DeMu wants to keep surging like this, these houses aren't flimsy things you can just forget about. You have to replace them, right? That's 50 wood again. Your opponent's getting paid 50. Like I said, you need to kill 4 buildings, but when you talk about the true exchange, you only need to take down 2 houses to return what you invested.
Exactly. The wall also existing means that in theory, if Kiljardi has like any low health Keshiks, he could just send them to the wall and have them heal up.
That's true. And it looks like that wall isn't going to be needed much longer here. DeMu has to move away from the berries. He has got gold behind that wall, but the food doesn't feel like it allows him to quickly escape into age 3 here.
Yeah. Berries depleted. Managed to get another batch of archers out. Now it's going to be a while until he gets his next batch in. He's only on olive groves now.
Signal arrow also on the way, so Kiljardi understands just how powerful this tool is.
It is. Getting like an additional couple of seconds on the bonus attack speed for your archers makes a huge difference in those fights. Or movement speed even.
I think it's something like 3 or 4 extra attacks.
It is a lot.
Right? Yeah.
It like triples the duration of it almost, I want to say.
Because it's 5 by default, and I think it's another 5. And if you get the improved, it gets
I think
7.
it depends on what you choose. I think like the movement speed isn't 5 seconds long.
Yeah. But I think the attack speed is, right? Which is what you're aiming for with this many archers. But maybe, with the Keshik numbers trending as they are, he might choose the dive option instead.
He needs to do it soon though, because now DeMu has started opting into Limit. Granted, he doesn't have the best food income right now. He's only at less than 300 food per minute.
It's been that way for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was messing archers, right? So for archers, it's fine. It's not fine if you want to make Limit, which do cost 80 food per.
That's a lot of rams.
And they're going to be hard to kill. So while DeMu fights off against the military for Kiljardi, those rams will basically pay for themselves with the bounty that they'll generate.
So far, I don't know if I'd say the ram trades have been worth it, right?
Not quite, not quite. I mean, they were key when it comes to like keeping up the pressure, but now the fight is going to be coming in.
Keshiks go in, into the choke point first, leading here, few Limitane. We'll be able to buff them away. Lombo count is up to 20. This is actually a really big deal. What you need to do, bait him in a little bit, trigger that arrow, and there's the activation. Kiljardi goes for it. DeMu is going to dive forward here, gets baited in range of the Limitane. Horseman full up as well. How is this going to favor Kiljardi, though, when the military numbers are so much in DeMu's favor?
It is a lot of military. On top of that, the TC also peppering those units. Keshiks are tanking on the front line. Not many Limitane remaining,
Not enough.
but the Keshik numbers are also falling behind us, and Kiljardi might need to fall back here for the time being.
I think he's just fully committed. There's no way out now, right? If you have to retreat here, it's all over. DeMu just has raw archer mass. We know that dictates feudal. And Kiljardi now looking like a small boy here. 27 archers up against the combined arms of 50 between the Lombos and the regulars from DeMu.
And DeMu does indeed hold here under his TC. Kiljardi needs to run away for the time being. Does have the outpost set up, so at least now he will get that bonus movement speed on his units.
And now an opportunity to start punishing. We have to remember Kiljardi's kept himself in this game off of those pocketed resources. He even moved to the boar and the deer on DeMu's side. If DeMu even gets an inkling that he can actually finally come out, this one could be swiftly over.
Yeah, one Keshik tries to raid, but the attack tech there for the Byzantines. Accuratory defense is coming in order to save those villagers.
And now the Ford berries. I mean, this is productive for DeMu, right? Like, he needs to keep his army in this area anyway. You might as well bring your economy to the same screen to stop any killy moves out of Kiljardi here on the flanks.
I think Kiljardi just slightly overcommitted into trying to destroy the houses. The Rams didn't really do a great deal there. What you want to go for is try to go for the production buildings.
It kind of feels like, it's going to sound weird, but like maybe you just allow castle for castle with a Kurtai, right? Like he had about 40 archers plus, Keshiks coming in. Maybe that would have given the breakthrough, because I feel like we went through this time and time again. One ram goes in, pokes a little bit. yes, you're trading out, but even though it's slow, DeMu's still scaling the premium unit, which is the Lombos.
Shicks are coming in, trying to find a couple of villager kills here. Villagers. Looks like it's textiles at this point in time. Yeah, textiles definitely has been researched here.
So we'll get a little bit of damage done here, slight lead, but you know what? DeMu says, okay, wait a second. If your Keshiks are running around my base...
They're not running around in yours.
So I think trade places?
Villagers, just going to run through the gate.
Ah, yes, the ultimate counter. Learn to jump, horse. Meanwhile, horsemen lead the way for DeMu into the economy, and that is much more idle time. Kiljardi had to shift the entire wood line. Remember, he's also been pivoted off the front line of food gathering. He's now relying on these berries and these berries only.
And there's going to be another fight here, but it's 84 military compared to just the 53 from Kiljardi. Archers are coming in. Arrow fight comes in. Signaling arrow for the attack speed comes in as well.
Right, he stands his ground. He doesn't even care, right? He's like, okay, horsemen just absorb and go. Lombos, archers move in. Kiljardi, the buffer's about to run out. If you can't win a fight with it, how the hell do you do it without?
Just now, it's only the archers and the longbowmen remaining.
Raid's coming in.
Movement speed aura is going to come away. Keshik still raiding a little bit in DeMu space.
Limitane still just chasing them around the game with duck, duck, goose here. Kiljardi will at least be able to swat DeMu away, but I just keep looking at this Lombo number. Yes, archers are dying in this exchange, but DeMu doing a great job of not losing those premium Lombos anymore.
Lots of wood flowing as well. Could be reinvested into more and more olive groves now for DeMu, and the resources, they're getting really close for Castle Age. Meanwhile, Kiljardi, he's very far away from it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, DeMu, if he just sells a bit of gold, obviously you want to keep it though, right, for the upgrades. So we'll just continue to trend like this. He's got more olive oil to work with, so could easily be more Lombos. I mean, even if he fully backs up now with Limitane, he should feel confident. Keshiks will go for the backstab. The problem is the archers aren't quite in range here, so the Keshiks, yes, they slow things down, but they don't get much damage for it.
Not much damage indeed, and now the archers are still in a position where they're not quite favored. No front line covering for them here at all. Labitnai just pushing it in.
Just cannon fodder. It's like, yes, shoot me so the Lombos can shoot you. Kiljardi holding on to a substantial amount of archers here. DeMu, in the meantime, though, is reinvesting. Horseman coming again. He's got almost 1,000 food income. He seems to understand that as he adds in more and more of these groves, inherently castle will happen. You do not have to force it here.
Yeah, and now look at the olive oil income. It's up to above 300 per minute now. And with that, he's once again able to mass produce those longbowmen.
That's worrisome. I mean, if this number hits like 40 Lombos, I don't know what Kiljardi does against that.
There's not a whole lot that you can really do as Mongols in this situation, at least not in Feudal Age. And behind all of this, Castle Age now on its way.
It used to be a tree line here. It's been that long.
Not anymore. It used to be houses there as well.
I mean, usually when a coastal cliffs has this much tree gone, there's walls everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
Mongols
what a bad time to be Mongols.
And with that age up, I don't see a way out of this situation now for Kiljardi.
I wonder, you know, I can't help but think back. Like, he had that one outpost in the front line. What if he'd had that deer stone when he was trying to shove into the main, bro? Maybe that extra mobility.
I'm not sure, just because the mass difference was still so huge. It was like 30 more units for DeMu at that point in time. And now it's almost even units, but DeMu's about to have to take advantage.
I mean, it's beyond in favor of DeMu now. Remember also Dialecticus. He's been so deep into this age. It should be, what, level 3 Dialecticus? So tech up in about half a minute. And there it is. He upgrades the normal archers first. Veterancy shouldn't be too far behind. He actually even prioritizes the Limitane upgrade before getting those Lombos upped.
Yeah, no mercenary upgrade coming in quite yet. Will be coming in shortly, though. There it is, now coming in.
Kiljardi with the push.
And Kiljardi, yeah, wants to get this fight in now before the upgrades come in. But in theory, DeMu doesn't even need to wait for the upgrades, but they are coming in. They're coming in so quickly. Dialecticus putting in the work there, and suddenly all the units here have veterancy status. And that is no longer a fight that Kiljardi can even remotely win.
I mean, this is done. Kiljardi knows it as well, right? At this stage, you can't run back. You can't run anywhere because Benny Boy's coming for you. He's going to even it up. He's going to get a point on the board because a Castle Age up and an army up guarantees that Ben is on the board. And look at that smile, that relief.
There it is, GG, pretty much already called, and now DeMu 1-1 on the board. Under a lot of pressure here by Kiljardi.
I mean, what a relief as well. I think that smile is appropriate when you think about the fact that that is meant to be a really good matchup for Mongols, right? Like, it had to be feeling so harsh after game one, the way it's trending. Maybe it's just going to be a little bit of an outdraft. Those are the type of ones I think that give you the morale booster to thrust forward back into a series.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was quite a lot of pressure. DeMu was there with the Byzantines, but managed to come back, managed to bide his time, mass up enough units, defend the crucial push from Kiljardi with 4 rams, and make it out alive.
And I think that's the thing we kind of highlight at the start of the series, attacker versus defender, right? It kind of played out perfectly in that one. And DeMu reminds us that those years have not gone to waste. I mean, the Devil Terran, right? You know how Terrans play StarCraft?
No.
Hunker down, baby.
You get those huge tanks in, right?
Yep, get those siege tanks, take a base slowly. You're not Zerg, you don't need 15 bases, right? I think Kiljardi would have been more of a Zerg player, so he definitely has experience being on the defense. And well, I mean, come on.
That military graph was telling for quite a while. Like, that is, I mean, to be fair, you can't trust these graphs fully because I don't think that the mercenaries contribute anything at all in that one.
Yeah, the Mercs were kind of a mixed bag, right? I think they had the moment where it looked like it might cost them the game, but you know, I think what we learned here, I mentioned actually, we had this similarly with Delhi game between Byzantines and Delhi, where Archer Lombo actually weirdly enough worked, even against Horsemen. It's just the archers become a pseudo front line, and when you think about it, it makes sense. If you can't access that much olive oil and thus that much food, you are at least always left with all that wood.